Why do politicians make claims that are demonstrably false when the listener or reader can easily determine that the claim is false without question by making a quick Google search taking less than a minute of their time? My answer, which I have expressed many times in my blog that I started in October 2008, is that lying works. And lying all the time about almost everything works even better. And lying is a path to political power in the United States. Now, the reasons for that are more interesting, but I'm not going to get into it in this video. I will give an example from this weekend. The Republican U.S. Senator from Oklahoma, Mark Wayne Mullin, claimed in an interview with Tapper at CNN that President Obama was the one who gave Epstein his sweetheart non-prosecution deal in the first federal prosecution. This was a false claim that Mullin persisted in making even after being told the facts. What are the facts? I did a Google search and found the non-prosecution agreement online in about 10 seconds. It is a public document. I then confirmed the authenticity quickly as well. This agreement was dated in July 2008, months before Obama was even elected as president. Bush remained as president until Obama's inauguration in January 2009, as Mullin must know. The non-prosecution deal was negotiated during Bush's presidency. I'm not blaming Bush any more than I would blame Hillary Clinton for a breakdown in security at a U.S. consulate in Benghazi. The sweetheart Epstein deal was given by a Republican, U.S. District Attorney for the Southern District of Florida. I'm referring to Alex Acosta, who was appointed by President George Bush. Trump later appointed Acosta to be Secretary of Labor, notwithstanding his involvement in the 2008 Epstein non-prosecution agreement. Why did Mullin fail to mention that fact? Acosta was appointed in 2017 as Trump's labor secretary. I have seen Mullin in action enough to form an opinion about his integrity. Everyone can make that own judgment on the matter. The main question is, why would Mullin make that demonstrably false claim that Obama was responsible for letting Epstein off the hook in 2008 when he had to know that his claim was false? Or could, at a minimum, spend 20 seconds of his time checking the veracity of his claim before going on national television and making the false claim to millions. The motive for the false claim is clear to me. He was trying to deflect attention away from Trump's decision to keep the Epstein files secret after promising to make them public. Will Mullin now issue a statement acknowledging the falsity of his claim that Obama was responsible for that non-prosecution agreement with Epstein and apologize for making it on national television? The now dominant conspiracy wing of the Republican Party thought that there would be information on Democrats participating in Epstein's pedophilia ring. But wouldn't Trump release the files if that was in fact the case? Trump denied that Bondi told him his name was in the Epstein files. Multiple sources claim that Bondi did in fact tell Trump his name appeared several times in those files, and then a decision was made to keep the files secret. Trump has claimed at least twice that he was not told his name was in the Epstein files before the decision was made to keep them secret. What will Bondi say when asked during a congressional hearing under oath about this matter? If she did tell Trump and a decision was then made to keep the files secret, will she perjure herself to protect Trump when there may be multiple people who could contradict that sworn testimony? She could lose her law license in that scenario and be subject to criminal prosecution for perjury. Not while Trump is president, of course, but when and if a Democrat is elected in 2028. The Republicans will claim that any such prosecution is a witch hunt, their standard conclusion about any criminal prosecution of a Republican, even if there is overwhelming evidence supporting the criminal charge against her in that scenario where there would be multiple persons confirming that she did make that disclosure to Trump. Republicans do not look at the evidence before forming an opinion about criminal charges brought against Trump or other Republicans, but will not need any evidence to form an opinion, for example, that Obama committed treason, as Trump recently claimed. No evidence is needed to support that claim. If information about Trump is in the Epstein files, it is clear now, at least, that he does not want to disclose the files and he wants to keep them secret. There is a YouTube video that I watched yesterday titled "Lewd Trump Photos Are in the Epstein Files, Witness Reveals." The author, Michael Wolff, that many people may be familiar with, is interviewed in that video. Wolff conducted interviews with Epstein that are on tape. They're referred commonly as the Epstein tapes. And during one of his interviews, Wolff claimed that Epstein went to his safe, took out some compromising photos of Trump, which he describes in that video, and I will not summarize here, and showed them to Wolff. You can make your own decision after watching that video on whether Wolff is credible or not. For those who have classified all of the allegations made by women that Trump sexually assaulted them as false and dismissed the Access Hollywood tapes and the E. Jean Carroll verdicts, it would be nothing for them to conclude that Wolff is lying. Anyone making a statement under oath, even that Trump sexually assaulted women or committed some sexually inappropriate conduct is by definition false and Trumpable. If the Michael Wolff is telling the truth about the photos of Trump that he describes in the video, I wonder whether the FBI seized them during a search, which they did conduct of Epstein's residences, which would explain why Trump does not want the files released. Or maybe they have been destroyed while in the government's possession after Kash Patel became director of the FBI. I do not know, one way or another. I want to conclude by making a comment about Todd Blanche, who represented Trump as his personal defense lawyer in the New York criminal case, where he was found guilty of 34 felonies and a jury verdict. Trump has appointed Blanche to be the number 2 person in the Department of Justice, someone who simply does not, in that role, interview witnesses for possible criminal prosecutions or for a criminal investigation. That would be done by the FBI. So did Blanche interview Maxwell, serving a 20-year prison sentence for her involvement in Epstein's pedophile ring for 2 days? Who is he representing? Is he representing Donald Trump, which in my opinion he is? He is not representing the United States as the Deputy Attorney General because there's no reason for the Deputy Attorney General to conduct an interview with a witness. Any statement made by him to exonerate Trump on this matter will be seen as consistent with that personal representation. He was far too conflicted to have conducted that interview and should have assigned someone else to conduct it.